Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I hope you guys doing good. Today I'm coming back to you with another video, and this one is a little bit unusual to me. Normally, if you're familiar with my channel, I do a lot of collecting and a lot of building, a lot of videos related to the custom Lego military stuff, which is in 1/35th scale. Sometimes I do 1/40th scale, 1/45th, like I have some trains and that kind of stuff. But here in this case, we have something different. What I'm gonna look at right now is, well, I did want to try out basically something different from what my usual collecting. So what we have here is a company called Brickmini, and we are looking at few of the just kind of, they're called Nano soldiers, and this is not exactly Lego. And you can see those are, I think they are injected molded. So in one way that's good. So this is not like a resin printed elements at all. So essentially they are just kind of like Lego. They are very firm, very sturdy, but once again, they are very tiny. So if you're familiar with, or I guess if you were, at least, if you're a child in the 90s, then you probably know there were a bunch of this green soldiers. So I think the inspiration, I'm guessing, again, I'm not gonna talk for the person or owner of this company who created those. I think the inspiration was that, it's kind of like the little green soldiers, again, just in the very tiny format, not in the Lego minifig scale at all, but compatible with the Lego brick. So as far as I understand, Brickmini had initially a Kickstarter. There was a couple waves. There was wave 1, and this actually, those guys right here are from wave 1 minifigs. I did not participate in any of the waves. I've heard of the company, but was never really so much interested in the scale, based on my collecting habits. But nonetheless, this is something that was released in wave 1. They have wave 2, which has a different type of figurines. Wave 3, I think they had Jeep vehicles, was also injected printed in that scale. Some parachutes, really cool stuff like motorcyclists. Again, I was not too involved in this, but if you were part of the Kickstarter, you had an option, and I think mostly the focus was that it's something towards like the D-Day kind of diorama. You had options of picking up different kind of also vehicles, Lego built vehicles and Lego mock built like bunkers and other type of items. Maybe I'll put a little screenshot here so you can check it out. But nonetheless, I did not participate in the Kickstarter. However, you can check out the Brickmini website. Again, not sponsored at all here, but last year they had, I'm probably gonna have maybe this year too, they had Black Friday special. They had 20% off, and I was like, okay, why not try those guys out? And I'll get to that in a second. They also have actually Lego builds as well in that scale. And the scale, if I'm not mistaken, is 1/144th or close enough. And Brickmania also has this micro builds as well for the micro tank games that they do. And this is kind of also compatible with that scale. But actually, let's go ahead, and before I kind of start showing you more of their stuff, Brickmini stuff, I'm going to show you the scale. How does that look like next to the minifig? So here we go. So we have a minifig next to the Brickminis. So now, obviously, you can tell it's quite tiny, but at least then something you can gauge if it's something for you or not. Let's go ahead and move on to some of the vehicles. The vehicle builds are like this. The Brickmini, they have designed their own vehicles, which are pretty, straightforward and simple. And then I think they outsourced from Brickmania as well some of the builds. Let's go ahead and jump into the Brickmania builds. All right, so here we go. Brickmania has made 2 kits, as far as I understand, that they look exactly like Brickmania kits would look like, but they are available on Brickmini website, so you can check that out if you want. And one of them is C-47 Dakota, and then another one is CG-4A glider, Waco glider, and this is more in the clamshell. And it's exactly like Brickmania kits. It's the same thing you expect with instructions and everything like that. So let's go ahead and maybe have a little bit closer look at those here. I have those already built live. Go ahead and give a little bit of a zoom so you can check them out. I also add a couple of those green guys, green soldiers here, so you can see how it looks like in the scale. And this is pretty cool because you do get Brickmania printed elements. So give you a little bit of 360 on those guys here. And the builds are actually very nice. I do enjoy it quite well. They are very sturdy. Maybe give you a little close up here. Once again, everything here that you see is printed, no stickers at all. And yeah. Even here, like they're trying to keep all here, like they say, in white color or in black. So they didn't hesitate to to print those elements, which definitely adds a detail. And we have here plastic lacy. Actually, let's go ahead and have a closer look at the glider. Glider is also pretty cool. This one has a little bit of a playability or function. You can actually open this up like the real glider we have. And again, some printed tiles. Very nicely done. So here we go. And in addition to buying actually Brickmania kits in the form of from Brickmini website, I also end up picking up some of the tanks. Again, there's a little bit of focus on the D-Day, and I'm not sure if the stuff is still available. It might be that some of the stuff could be already sold out. But you know, from the D-Day perspective, you have some like the Sherman tanks that were involved, and then there was a Tiger tank that I also picked up right here. And just for comparison purposes, what I ended up doing, I also picked up a couple of the Brickmania micro builds as well. So I have this IS heavy tank, and then I have the United States Army artillery pack. So I'll get to those in a second. And there was also a few things available like the troop transport and a couple of other kits, again, that I was not interested at the moment. Let's go ahead and jump into a little bit of this tank setup. I'll put the planes aside just really quickly. Here we go. So we do have some micro brick battle happening here. And once again, this is a Brickmania micro tank build. And this is the Brickmini. So Brickmini is fairly simple. And what I like about those guys right here, Brickmini has also provided you those figures, like little soldiers in different configurations. So you can have a tanker, for example, so it definitely gives you additional detail. Then you have guys in the different positions. Once again, if you're doing the Kickstarter, Wave 2 or Wave 3, then you have even more options that you can build up your army with. And here we have, since this is American section, a closer look, then we have all the artillery that I built. Once again, that's Brickmania. And then here we have a Tiger tank by Brickmini. Very simple builds. Once again, the build style, I mean, you technically can rotate the turret. The build style is a little different from Brickmania, just the way they do the tracks. And then Brickmania, of course, has a little bit of a printed elements. And here, basically, what I'm trying to go for is we have, you know, the Soviets, the Russians, and then we have a Germans right here in gray, and then we have Americans in this olive color for the figures. It's a little bit unfortunate at the moment. You cannot pick up, again, I think in further waves it might be the case, or even the second or third waves you might have that it could be like a different shape minifigures. Like for example, those with the present Germans, it would be nice to have actual Germans here instead of like that. You know, obviously this is all Americans in different color, right? And same thing with the Soviets. Maybe some kind of additional variation would be very nice and welcome. But of course, like I said, there's a small company. Maybe there's no capabilities right now. In the future, with additional Kickstarters, I'm sure there might be some more coming. But at the moment, I think it still looks pretty good. Although again, different variety would be nice, but just having different colors is already looks pretty good to me. So here you go. Check those guys out. Let me know what you think in the comments. How do you like those little tanks? How do you like those little tiny soldiers? And you know, we have the Sherman right here. All right, and in conclusion, I just want to do one thing. I know it's a little different. It's completely out of like Lego realm, but I think it's relevant enough since I'm already doing this 1/44th scale. I also built recently a Cobi U-boat. So this boat happened to be also on 1/44th scale. So let me go ahead and maybe give you a closer look at this guy. So this is also 1/44th scale. So all this, what you see here on the screen right now, technically supposed to be in 1/44th scale. This is, again, not Lego. This is Cobi. Let's go ahead and grab one of those minifigs. So let's pretend this is a German. So we can put him in here. And technically, yeah, it should be accurate to the scale of the boat and to the scale of the figures. All right, so here you go. I grew my 144 collection quite quickly. And the reason mostly for that is because it's quite small builds. I mean, when you're talking about, small builds, not a lot of parts usage in here. And that's what I kind of want to get to the conclusion of this video and maybe get your opinion as well. So you can leave it in the comments. But my thinking is this might not be for everybody, the specific scale. And, maybe not so much that I'll continue with that as well. It's just something I want to try out and see how that looks like. But, if you're a mock builder, for example, and, you're basically working with very little parts here. So that, going to reduce the cost of your mock. So there's one benefit already to be kind of building stuff in this kind of 144 scale. So that definitely a positive there. And of course, if you're lacking space, for example, you can make a nice diorama just on this base plate right here, 32 by 32. Or, if you want to go like crazy with a D-Day display, you can just, you're going to cover like half of this table and that's it. I mean, if you're talking about 1/35 scale and an actual Lego minifig scale, it's going to be a huge diorama. So it's going to be definitely a lot of money, a lot of work, and a lot of space. So it's definitely positives in there. And of course, there's Brickmania has released a bunch of like games that you can do. We can play with your friends, instructions, that kind of stuff. And then Brickmania stuff is, of course, kind of compatible with Brickmania. And Brickmania already released a bunch of those little tanks as well, airplanes and those kind of things. So if you're into it, then there's definitely a lot of builds, a lot of options, definitely a lot of instructions that you can do. But from my point of view, I do like it a lot. Am I going to continue collecting this? I'm not sure. One compromise you come in here with this 144 scale is that you kind of start liking a little bit of a detail. Yes, it's smaller, it doesn't take a lot of space, it's a lot cheaper to build up big armies and mocks, but then you are compromising on a kind of accuracy on a scale. I mean, Cobi is a little exception because they're using some crazy parts and techniques, but generally speaking, of course, then you're not going to get a lot of detail out of those guys. So yeah, go ahead and leave in the comments. Let me know what you think about those builds. I think they're pretty cool. I'm really happy I was able to get those guys. Definitely reminiscent of my childhood playing with those little toy soldiers. And I think, again, there's a lot of mock potentials with those guys. And yeah, tell me in the comments how you feel about it. If you like the video, go ahead and put a like, subscribe to the channel, and there's going to be more videos to come. Stay tuned for more. Peace.